You know the drill, right? We're constantly being asked to rate things on a simple 1 to 5 scale. But what if I told you that every single one of those surveys has a hidden flaw, a systematic error that makes us consistently underestimate how the world actually works?
Well, according to a really fascinating body of research, the answer is a big, resounding yes. Those neat little boxes we check are actually concealing a huge amount of information, and it has major consequences for science, for business, and for how we understand ourselves.
So in this explainer, we're going to break it all down. First, we'll define the problem. It's called scale coarseness. And then we'll reveal its surprisingly massive bias. We'll also see why it's not just random error. And then, here's the cool part. We'll uncover a solution that's been hiding for decades and see what it all means for a more accurate future.
All right, let's dive in. What exactly is scale coarseness? Well, at its heart, it's all about what happens when precision gets lost in translation.
Think of it this way. Our feelings and opinions, they're not neat little boxes, are they? They exist on a smooth, continuous spectrum. But our surveys force us to cram that entire spectrum into just 5 boxes, and in that process, we lose a ton of crucial detail.
This slide shows the problem perfectly. Let's say your true feeling is a 4.4. You have to pick 4. But if someone else's true feeling is a 3.7, they also have to pick 4. So now you have 2 very different feelings being squashed into the exact same data point. All that nuance, it's just gone.
And this isn't just me saying it. As the researchers put it, people with genuinely different true feelings are treated as if they're identical. This isn't just a little rounding error, it's a fundamental breakdown in how we're measuring reality.
Okay, so we lose a little bit of information. How much can that really matter? Well, it turns out it is a massive deal. It leads to a shocking underestimation of what's really going on.
So is this just some nerdy academic problem, or does it actually have real-world consequences? The answer is pretty surprising.
Get this, 30%. On average, this scale coarseness problem causes researchers to underestimate the relationship between 2 things by 30%. That means the connection looks way, way weaker than it actually is.
And just think about what that means for the real world. That link between your job satisfaction and your overall well-being, we've been underestimating it. How much a company's diversity climate actually impacts turnover, we're underestimating that too. Team cohesion, performance, you name it. It's all been systematically underestimated simply because of how we ask the questions. And this table from the source paper lays it all out. Just look at that underestimation column. The effect of self-efficacy on finding a job was underestimated by 33%. For diversity and turnover, it was 24%. I mean, these are not small changes. These are big enough to completely alter the conclusions of a study.
Now, I know what you might be thinking. Isn't this just random survey error? Happens all the time. But it's not. This is something totally different and frankly a lot more insidious.
Here is the crucial difference, so lean in. Random error is like static on the radio. It pushes scores up and down, all over the place. If you ask more questions, that static tends to cancel itself out. But scale coarseness is systematic. It always rounds your score in the same predictable way. Adding more questions just means you're repeating the same rounding error over and over again. It doesn't fix a thing. And as this quote really highlights, just summing up a bunch of these coarse, boxy answers is not the same as getting one really precise, continuous answer. That loss of information happens on every single item. So, the problem is clear, it's significant, and our usual methods don't fix it. This might seem a little disheartening, but honestly, this is the best part of the story. The solution has been waiting for us for over 80 years. This timeline is just remarkable. A statistical fix was literally derived way back in 1940, and then was basically ignored for decades. Then, in 2009, some researchers dusted it off, confirmed the original math was incredibly accurate, and started shouting from the rooftops that we needed to use it. And today, that fix is easily available to everyone.
And the actual correction process is surprisingly simple. You just take the correlation you got from your survey data, you identify how many points were on your scales, and then you apply a known correction factor. And just like that, you reveal a much more accurate result with that systematic bias stripped away.
And to make it a complete no-brainer, the study's authors even created a free online program to do all the calculations for you. You literally just plug in your numbers, and it instantly spits out the more accurate corrected result.
Okay, let's wrap this up by looking at the bigger picture. Why does fixing this one tiny overlooked flaw matter so much, and what should you really take away from all of this?
So what are the key takeaways here? Well, for any researchers watching, please report the corrected correlations to give us a more accurate picture. For the rest of us, next time you see survey results, just remember that the real connection is probably stronger than what you're seeing. And finally, for science itself, this is a great reminder that sometimes the biggest progress comes from fixing the smallest flaws that we've all taken for granted.
We just uncovered a 30% underestimation hidden in plain sight, and maybe the most common research tool on the entire planet. And it leaves us with one final provocative question. If a simple 1 to 5 scale can hide this much, what else are we missing?